Penumbra Black Plague is the middle point between Overture and The Dark Descent. You can see a lot of what makes Amnesia creepy in this game, and I think it's those differences between Overture and Black Plague that make this one stand out when it comes to the collective of Frictional Games lineup. The main difference between Black Plague and Overture is that Black Plague is a lot more paranormal, you know what I mean? A little bit more spooky, a little bit more scares, the supernatural. It's got that vibe that Amnesia was really known for. And it's got the vibe that I liked in Amnesia. This is the point where they refined their skills, figured out what works, what doesn't, and achieved something great. And I'll be honest, this game did nothing for me, like actually, Jesus fucking Christ. Before I explain why, let me clarify. I don't hate this game. This game is not bad or anything. I simply think that this stems from me playing all of these games one after the other without a good-sized break in between. Perhaps it's burnout or something else, but I just did not enjoy this one and had a kind of hard time reaching any sort of conclusion. But before I tell you my conclusion, let's start as always with the specs, the technical stuff. Did the game run or not? Who's to say?
Also, there might be spoilers ahead for Overture, just so you're aware. Okay, bye.
Didn't have any problems with the game. Started it up fine. Didn't crash too often either. The only time it did crash was when I tabbed out during a loading screen, and, you kind of should expect that kind of stuff to happen with these older games. Other than that, the game runs really well. Ran at a solid 60. Keep in mind that I'm a 60 FPS gamer. I didn't really try anything above that, so, beware is all I'll say about that. Also, do keep in mind, I usually have very good luck when it comes to older games and the issues that they have on modern hardware. So just keep that in mind, Keep in mind that your mileage may vary with this game. Anyway, let's get started with the premise. This game takes place right where the last game left off. You are Philip. You receive a nice little cutscene that gives you a quick recap of the last game.
Without this knowledge, without this foundation, you could not have the will to do what I must now ask of you. I followed my father to the Greenland wastes to uncover his secrets. You had to know how far I was willing to go. I found a disused mining shaft and took shelter from the storm. You had to know how desperate I was. I was plagued by doubts, fears, and mysteries, and aided by a madman, Red. You had to know how lonely I was. I incinerated my best friend. Red told me he wanted to die. You had to know how guilty I felt. I ventured boldly onwards, and was struck down by my own heroics. You had to know how stupid I was. All of these things, so human, so perfect, and yet still I failed to do what I must now ask of you.
You wake up on a piss-colored mattress in a locked room. After getting out, you make your way to the mess hall, not before reading up on the orientation.
In a worst-case scenario, be prepared to swallow your personal cyanide capsule, which will be issued after this briefing. The Archaic hates to lose its treasured staff, but it may be for the good of the operation. We know you will enjoy your work with us.
You make your way from the mess hall to the sewers, and you're visited by a strange voice. After completing some sort of mind obstacle course, you're given a guardian angel in the form of Clarence.
Well, thanks for the help. I'm having an existential nightmare, and you can't even say a word.
Oh my god! Found a bug. Found a bug. I just sank to the bottom of the fucking water. Found a bug. I found a bug. And then, the game begins proper.
You know what I mean? It's just how I'm feeling.
Visually speaking, it's pretty good, all things considered. Nothing is outright bad, and the game at times can actually fall into the uncanny valley, if you understand my meaning, giving it a sort of creepy effect that a lot of these older games usually have. Already, the vibes from this one are so much creepier, more psychological. The last game kind of just had that right there. That proves it. Christ. The lighting is just as good, if not better than Overture, if only slightly. Just overall, this game looks better than Overture. So, what about the monsters? The monsters are alright. Better than the dogs. They're a lot more zombie-like, although they do speak, which kinda adds a bit more character to them. They use flashlights and tools to seek you out in the dark. There are actually 3 different types of monsters. One has a flashlight, which makes it easier for him to spot you in the dark. Another has a crowbar, which lets him break down doors faster. And the third one, he just has an axe. It lets him kill you quicker. The reason that I'm bringing this up in the enemies section is because I don't think it ever really came up in gameplay. This info is from the wiki, and to be honest, I never really noticed a difference to the monsters. Sure, I might have noticed that one had a flashlight and one didn't, but I don't know. Never really noticed a difference when it came to gameplay. Although this might stem from the game not being as long as the last one. All over reviews when the game came out, the game was criticized about how short it was. It took me about 2 hours to beat, so maybe if there was more game, they might have had more time to actually, go in depth with this kind of, different monsters having different things. But in reality, it's just never really comes up in gameplay. But even if this doesn't come up in gameplay, I think it's still important, as I feel like just calling them zombies misses the point. You're facing an intelligent enemy this time. Won't budge.
Hello there.
Oh, for fucking Christ! Jesus. Oh my god. Oh, it's so fucking funny. Intelligent, not smart, but intelligent. But I'll get into that later. No dumb dogs or creeping spiders this time. The Turngat, as they are called, are not very intimidating for me. Mostly because I could always outrun them. In games like The Dark Descent, they were faster than you. The monsters were quicker, and so you had to be on your feet. You had to find a hiding spot quick, block doors, block everything to kind of build up time in between them getting to you. You get what I'm saying? But that doesn't happen in this game. You can kind of just run faster. So, Also, the noise of their bare feet just slapping against the tiles, it's just... it's just really funny to me. I don't know why. Oh my god! Why is this so funny to me? Other than that, the environments are composed of different hub areas, like in the last game. Although, unlike the last game, like I said earlier, it's a bit shorter, so there aren't as many hub areas. There's 2 main ones. But there's still a wide variety of locations in the game. You visit mess halls, office areas, machine rooms. Honestly, this facility has about everything. And it does give me a sense that all these areas did serve a purpose. But I'll admit, it does seem like a little bit of a weird layout to the place. Maybe there's a locked door somewhere that led to the crew quarters or something, but it's kind of weird that you have to go out into the snow to get to, your quarters. Although it does at least give the impression that people did live here at some point, which is nice in the setting. Also, Oh, Jesus fucking Christ!
Hey.
What?
What about the worm, man?
Oh. Yeah, so I kind of forgot about the worm in the last game, and my reasoning behind this was literally... I just plain forgot about him. He does show back up in this game, and he dies. I want to be straight with you. I did not care too much for the worm. Not a big fan of those worms, my guys. Just not a big fan of them. They're always sliding around, doing weird dances in the rain. Honestly, not good for the neighborhood. Also, he kind of just felt out of place. I don't know how to explain it. The entire time in the first game, you get all this exposition and notes about the Turngat and how Red and the rest of the inhabitants of the facility are infected, dead, or missing, by this mysterious virus. And then there's just a worm. He's kind of just there. Sure, I'm guessing that there was a note somewhere in the last game that explained how they got loose and that they were experimenting on them or something, but from what it looks like, it just seems like they're just here You know, I don't really know what's tying them to the turn gap. Perhaps they're also infected, which would explain their size, but, you know. But to be fair, the worm is better than the dogs. You know, at least the worm scared me in the last game. But he just kind of felt out of place for me in the whole series. Not to mention, but he's kind of immediately killed in this game. Just kind of feels more like this one was tying up loose ends, you know, like, oh, what happened to the worm? You killed it. You know? Oh. Okay. Yeah, so can you leave? Oh, yeah, sure, man, sure. Anyways, let's get into the sound. Sounds pretty good. Sound effects in the environments are very nice. You know, it gives the impression that this facility is actually, you know, real. Not a lot of silence. You know, there's always some kind of humming going on, whether it's the humming of the lights, the humming of the vending machine, or air coming out of the air ducts. You know, it really does set the vibe of the place. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know how much I appreciate the vibe. Of course, the vibe isn't present if the atmosphere isn't good. And in this game, it is. God, man, I really wish I knew how to write a good script. The ambience fits this game nicely, and it gives off a sort of liminal space vibe. I don't know, maybe it's just the humming of the lights or the light bulbs, you know, but the feeling that this facility gives off makes me feel like Zoomers in the audience would really get a kick out of areas in this place. The music's pretty great too. It sets a nice tone throughout the game, and it includes little chimes to indicate progress, which fits very nicely. This game also features a variety of voices, unlike the last game. Overture didn't really have bad voice acting by any means, but there was really only one person talking most of the time. In this game, there's like 3 or 4 people talking. Amabel, who is the nice little Christian girl that tries to help you get rid of the parasite.
Wow, you look like you've crawled through a sewer to get here. I suppose I'm flattered. Hi, I'm Amabel Swanson, and I suppose I'll be your guide for the day. Hello? Can you hear me? I think the transmission's only one way. I've got a webcam. Pull a silly face if you can hear me. Oh, very attractive.
There's also Dr. Eminis, who, yeah, I kind of don't want to talk to him. He's a little weird.
I remember why you're here. Dr. Swanson has filled me in. I recall every single syllable of our conversation. There was ever so slight an inflection in her tone that suggested she no longer trusted me. Why ever dinosaur extinction 65 million years ago, would she think that?
Oh, yeah. There's also the little parasite that's in your head. His name is Clarence.
My congratulations. Honestly, I mean it. Well done. I was only joking about the come get 'em thing. What say we celebrate with some nice, relaxing cyanide, huh? I'm sure I saw some anthrax lying around as well.
You know, Clarence, relationships are built on trust, you know, and all that kind of stuff, you know, and honesty as well. You don't gotta lie about that thing. You know, if you want me dead, that's fine. You know, a lot of people don't like me. It's fine. Clarence is the best fucking character in this game. Let me explain. During some point, either in the last game or in the beginning of this one, you contracted the Turngat virus that will attempt to mutate the individual into one of those, walking tube penis men. Yeah, those guys. But there is a way to kind of beat the virus, There's not really necessarily a cure yet, not until like the actual end of the game. The only thing you can do for yourself is buy yourself a bit of time. How can you do this? Well, it's easy. You just have to beat the obstacle course constructed from your memories. Look, I didn't make the game, don't ask me. You, Philip, succeeded in beating the obstacle course, and since you beat it, you get a prize. That prize being Clarence. Clarence is part of the Turngat hive mind. Yes, the walking tube penis men are part of a hive mind. And my good buddy Clarence here has just been ripped out of that hive mind and put into your head. He does some fuckery with your brain, causing you to hallucinate and make you see shit. Sometimes it can get a bit annoying, but for the most part, he's the game's ever-present comedic relief.
Well, I hope to see you soon.
Yeah, cures, rescues, saving the world, all so cliche, all so ridiculous. Do you really think you're doing the right thing? Your morality is just a lasting stain left behind by religion.
And, not to mention, he goes through a fucking whole character arc in this game. He goes from hating you, hating life, to kind of being like, maybe this life stuff, maybe this is, where it is. And then at the end, when you're about to get rid of him, he's like, hey man, I really don't want to die. Don't do this to me, He is literally the best character in these games. Don't at me on this. Now, on to the gameplay.
You think I can conjure up some margaritas?
The gameplay in this entry is a lot more reminiscent of what you would normally think of when you think of frictional games, meaning combat isn't necessarily an option, and it encourages running and hiding. Although I would still try to fuck him up whenever I could. This game is what you would expect from frictional, the good old game loop, puzzle, run and hide, puzzle, run and hide, puzzle, big chase scene, puzzle. Maybe this is simply a byproduct of playing all these games in rapid succession, but I am just getting tired of this formula. I don't know, I still like the games, but after I beat the game like 3 times, I still couldn't think of anything that I really liked or stood out, Maybe that's a bit harsh. Okay, to be fair, I have played this game a lot. More than The Dark Descent, probably. I know that my Steam says I have 40 hours in The Dark Descent, which makes sense. I played this game a lot as a kid, but I played Black Plague arguably just as much on another friend's PC. So, I know this game pretty well. I know the puzzles. I probably beat this game way faster than most other people could. The only puzzle that really stood out or took me more than a few seconds was this fucking stupid computer puzzle. And man, I just hate... Okay, hold on. Can I just vent for a second? I have beat this game 3 times in the past week. I hate this puzzle. This puzzle consists of 3 chips. Each of these chips needs specific programs to be installed on them. You also get a book to help you figure out what programs go on the chips. Sounds easy, right? Just put the programs on the chips, whatever the book tells you, you're bada bing, bada boom, you're ready to go. No. I cannot express how difficult this puzzle is for me. Make fun of me all you want, call me an idiot, but I have giga bird brain, okay? I see a piece of info, and the moment I look away, I forget what I saw. Much like a trapeze artist fucking losing grip. Everything just goes black for me. So going back and forth between the computer and the notes drives me fucking insane, because I forget what I need to put in. Also, it doesn't just tell you what programs to put on the damn things. It gives you a description of what the chip does, and you have to figure it out from there. All of this is happening. Clarence is saying this line every fucking time on the goddamn dot.
Human life is so banal. Is it always as monotone as this? I can't stand it. Let me out.
You think I want to be doing this shit, Clarence? I don't want to be doing this shit. I would rather fucking jack off to porn, but no, I'm gonna have to sit here and do this. Yeah, I agree with you, Clarence. I love you, buddy. I know it's a shitty puzzle. I've done it like 3 fucking times. Okay. Take a deep breath. Okay. Except for that puzzle. The game never threw me through a loop, or made me guess what I needed to do. But I do feel like a new person coming into this game for the first time would probably have a decent time and feel overall satisfied with the puzzles present. And please, I really think I need to say this, but I do like this game. I know I just kind of spent the past, 5 minutes just saying how much I hated a puzzle in the game and how much it's the same as every other game that I've played, but to be honest, I do think that this fits very nicely, and this is a natural sort of upgrade or a natural evolution that would lead to the Dark Descent. I really do like this game. Like I said, it's probably the one I've played the most out of all of these. But, I'm just kind of getting tired of the same formula over and over again, Equipment this time around is basically the same as Overture. You have your flashlight, your glow stick, instead of beef jerky, there's nothing to replace beef jerky. You're just gonna have to, distract them the old-fashioned way. You got your flares, and you got batteries this time around, and yes, batteries. Unlike the last game, you can pick up the batteries and then, manually put them into your flashlight. Although, I never really ran out of these. You could just kind of use the flashlight the entire game. As long as you're kind of actually, as long as you're trying to look around, you'll never really run out of batteries. I think I ended the game with 17 of them. It's ridiculous how many there are. There's also these little things you can pick up off the ground that are these strange artifacts. These things, if you collect enough of them, will unlock the super secret file in the game's folder, and I'll explain a bit more about that on the way out. But it's pretty neat, all things considered. But before we wrap this thing up, I do want to mention the AI. The AI in this game can be a little, a little wonky. Not bad, just weird. During a chase, they work fine, but when they're on a hunt, they kind of just don't give a shit. In my experience, if you're hiding in a room and you make noise in that room, they might go to the door, they'll hit it once, and then they'll just walk away. Or if they do finally break down the door and look into the room for a second, they'll just fucking walk away. Fucking come on, man. I need the footage. Get back in here. They work fine in a chase, just not while on the hunt, Anyway, good game, but I played it too much. Sometimes it's best. Overall, I think this game is good. Just a bit lacking for me. I don't think that this game is by any means bad. Please do not take my problems with this game as it being bad. I believe I've just played way too many of these fucking games and need a break in the form of a different series of games. But that series will have to wait as I brave the last game in Frictional's lineup, the only game that I have not played, Soma. So stay tuned in that for the last Frictional game I will play, because there are no more games that Frictional has made, at least none that I care to think about. And even if there was, I wouldn't play them because, I just don't like them that much. They're just not very good. If they're in a bottom of a dumpster, they might belong there. It's crazy. Anyway, in terms of secrets, there's actually, if you get those 10 strange artifacts, like I said, it does unlock the super secret file. You get the code, you put it in there. This time around, it actually, you don't have to keep putting in the code to access the file. It actually just dumps the secret file into your local files, which is actually kind of a nice change of pace. And instead of it being early game footage or something like that, you're actually shown some plans for how the layout of the maps are going to look. They're kind of written and drawn out instead of it being just a computer simulated model, which is actually kind of interesting. So, I like this one, though it's not as much as what was included in Rebirth or The Dark Descent or anything like that, but it's still nice to see these kinds of things. It shows me the developers really care. Anyway, my name is Wyrmwood, and as always, I'll see you actually, before I forget, if you stuck around to the end of the video, you obviously like my stuff quite a bit. Down in the description is a Discord link. If you want to check it out, go ahead. It's there. It's up for you guys. I just wanted to have a place where you guys could, post stuff that you wanted me to see, or all in all, just kind of have an easier, quote-unquote, way of contacting me or something like that. My email is always open, of course. If you have a question for me, you can also just put it in the comments. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. If you want, I can make a whole ending bit where I just answer your guys' questions. But either way, Discord in the description. I'll see you guys next time. Farewell.